to the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival, folks. God bless you. May God save America using President Trump and every single one of you. God bless you. MAGA 2024. Let's go, baby.
That is the leader of the Rod of Iron Ministries, holding his golden AR-15 and wearing, yes, your eyes do not deceive you, that is a crown made of bullets. Also in attendance at the Rod of Iron Crown Made of Bullets event this weekend in Pennsylvania was, naturally, Mike Flynn, Donald Trump's first national security advisor, the one who was removed from that post and prosecuted after lying to the FBI about his secret contacts with the Russian government. General Flynn spoke to this Rod of Iron Ministries event this weekend for over an hour. He also took some questions from the audience, or perhaps in this case, we should describe it as a proposal.
Is there any chance that should the election go in a positive result, you would get your rank reinstated and sit at the head of a military tribunal to not only drain the swamp, but imprison the swamp, and on a few occasions, execute the swamp?
Big cheers from the crowd there. To recap, would you go back into the military? If Trump wins, will you go back into the military so in uniform you can sit at the head of a military tribunal to drain the swamp and imprison the swamp and maybe execute the swamp? A big cheer for the executions. That's a hot one. What say you, General Flynn?
Your sentiment is like a lot of people that I speak to around this country. But when people start thinking like that, all of us folks, and when you hear when you hear other people talking about it, because you're going to hear a lot of people this weekend, and I always say that I speak like I never will be invited back. Okay? So you're going to hear all kinds of stuff, and that's great. That's good. I mean, people need to feel that way, and all good and fine. But not me. I'm about winning. We have to win. And these people are already up to no good. So we got to win first. We win, and then Katie bar the door. Okay? Believe me, the gates of hell, my hell, will be unleashed.
My gates of hell will be unleashed. Remember, he was just asked if he will get back into uniform under Trump so he can lead military tribunals to start executing Americans. And he says, once we're back in there, Katie bar the door. General Mike Flynn was not the only former Trump official at the Assault Rifles and Bullet Crowns Festival this weekend in Pennsylvania. They also gave a speaking slot to this guy.
I said it 100 times. Trump comes back, I come back.
Yeah. That guy's name is Tom Homan, H-O-M-A-N. During the Trump administration, he was acting director of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, better known as ICE. He's largely considered the architect of Trump's policy to tear little kids away from their moms and dads at the border. And when he says, if Trump comes back, I come back, it's not just wishful thinking on his part. Trump says publicly that if he is elected to a second term, he will indeed bring Tom Homan back on board to effectively oversee his immigration policy, the centerpiece of which is, of course, ordering the U.S. military to build camps capable of holding tens of millions of people, and then using the military to go into American homes and communities and extract tens of millions of people to put in those camps and then deport them. One of, if not the defining policy positions of the Trump campaign this time around, camps to hold millions of people and then deporting tens of millions of people from this country. And that was, in fact, something that Tom Homan bragged about this weekend at the Rod of Iron Ministries Bullet Crown Freedom Festival.
I said it 100 times. Trump comes back, I come back. And I will run the biggest deportation operation this country's ever seen.
If you're wondering how the Trump administration would go about this, how they would actually carry out this biggest deportation operation the country has ever seen, whether, this is a real policy they're going to approach carefully and soberly, right? Consider for a moment that the guy who Trump says would be in charge of the camps, in charge of the deportations, was a headliner at the Assault Rifles Are God's Will rally this weekend, where their leader was wearing a crown of bullets and Mike Flynn was positively fielding questions about leading military tribunals and execution squads for Americans. That perhaps gives you a sense of how they're going to approach the detention and deportation of tens of millions of people if Trump were to win a second term. If Trump comes back, I come back.